first thing we do when we get to the quail this year is rush the roof booth to see what kind of great gift they've got to give us. Yeah.
And if they've got underpants, Ryan is your man.
I want some roof undies. I swear to God, I do. I would rock those things on the outside.
This week on That Car Show, it's our Car Week special, and we talk about some of the experiences we're looking forward to over the next week or so. It's a whole week of events packed into 7 days. We're slightly worried because Ryan has only ordered 6 pairs of underpants. We reveal an exclusive from Ford in advance of their announcements at Car Week. We can officially announce on this channel that their new head of naming is a gentleman called Norman Klacher. And then, in honor of our sponsorship that we have with Sheffield Watches, we share some stories about some of the watches that mean things to us. All that and a whole lot more on this week's That Car Show. Hello, welcome to this week's That Car Show. You'll notice from those watching on video, we don't have Lindsey with us this week. She's taking a week off, getting ready for Car Week. Obviously, Ryan and Lindsey, you come off the back of 2 excellent shows. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I mean, thank you both. I think due wholly to our guests, Johnny Lieberman and Art Cervantes. Thank you both. Those, I think, were 2 of our best shows, at least numbers-wise, to date. So thank you for all those of you who are just tuning in for the first time. And let's keep it going. So don't forget to like, rate, review, and most importantly, comment, too, moving forward. So thank you.
Exactly. And this week, so in Lindsey's absence, we're joined with Michael. Hey, Michael.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
In your best overalls, I see.
Yes, comfy. Highly recommended. I want to start a fashion trend. Overalls are the way to go.
Well, you've got all the signifiers of a man who works on his cars for real. You got the hood open there. You're in the garage. Do you have grease on your hands or anything?
It's all fake. If I pan you around, everything looks too spotless. All my toolboxes are not nicked up. The tools are way too shiny. It's all it's all just a backdrop.
Right. I love it.
So for those listening to the podcast, Michael is wearing a set of dungarees, very fetching dungarees, may I say, and a white T-shirt. And he's on a break from working on a car. What car is that behind you?
That is a 92 Chevy Silverado.
Nice.
Old pickup truck. I don't know if it's old. What constitutes as old anymore? I don't really know. That doesn't feel old to me, but I think according to everybody else, it'd be old.
No. Yeah, 92 was just 15 years ago, so...
Right,
and we're all just 23.
That's right. Let's keep our youth alive. Right. So, gang, what have we been up to? Ryan, no more press cars for you for the minute. Is that right?
No more press cars. I am spending my week prepping for Car Week. You want to make sure you get to everything. You want to make sure that you're properly attired. You want to make sure that you're checking off all the boxes. So I'm sure once we get there, it'll be amazing. But I at least stress a ton the week going into Car Week. Are you guys just cool like that and slide right into it?
Daniel, your schedule.
Michael, I want you to wear those dungarees.
I will. I absolutely will. I have 3 pairs, so we will. And then they're all different colors. I mean, this is not what people tuned in to listen about, but yes.
Right.
By the way, we should bring that up because if you see any of us at Car Week, please reach out. Lindsey included. She'll be there. We got stickers. We would love to meet you. But I will be, Dan, now I'm going to take that challenge. I will be wearing overalls.
There we go. If you see Michael in overalls, he'll have stickers and a hug for you. For sure.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
This may be super random, but do either of you folks buy new clothes the week before Car Week? And that includes underpants. Like, I've been to Amazon and ordered a whole new set of underpants. But, is that just me?
No, I totally bought Calvin Klein 6-pack of underpants. I'm good for the whole of Car Week. So.
I was going to say the whole year. I thought you were going to tell us that was the one time. It was the Prime Day special for the year.
Yeah. Have you priced Calvin Klein lately? Like everything else, it's not cheap. So 6 pairs is what I can afford.
No, and you're there for 7 days, is that right?
Yeah. I was about to say, don't do the math.
I think one set's getting turned inside out.
One of those days, I'm going to be free and easy. Guess which one?
Hey, Dan, you and I are driving around Car Week together. Lindsey, because she's not here, has to ride with Ryan now.
There we go. Yeah. Is there a phrase that's something along the lines of going commando at Pebble Beach?
That could be the title of this
our
show.
new slogan. Yeah, that is the title of this show.
No, good. So, car week, what are we most looking forward to? Any memories from last year? I guess it's probably a good start.
I had the opportunity to do the Thursday tour in a GT DB4 GT. What is his car? What is
It's a
Terry's
DB4 GT?
but it's
right?
there's a nomenclature after it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it was
very special
campaigned
car.
by some very famous people. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a true race car, and honestly, one of the best driving cars. And to be in the passenger seat of that car through the tour, which was, honest to God, life, bucket list. Didn't even know it was on my bucket list. But I do encourage people, if you're up there, go up there Thursday morning, because the tour starts at whatever 6:30. Everything's accessible. The people are accessible. The cars are accessible. They want to talk. People want to talk. It's kind of the start of the event in many respects. So people are, excited and a lot of energy, and you just get to see a lot of really great stuff. So even if you don't participate on the tour or want to drive out to one of the remote spots and watch it drive by, if you're willing to, if you're an early bird, I can't recommend it enough because of the accessibility and just the friendliness of everyone there.
And that's actually, you go to Pebble Beach, just so people are aware.
Correct. You go to the top of the hill, right next to where a lot of the pavilions are. Is I don't even know the name of the street that well, but they line them up on one of the public streets there. Next to that is the paddock, frankly, where a lot of the trailers and transports are. So a lot of these things are just being pulled off the transport for the first time. That's where I personally got to experience the 20-minute startup of a Valkyrie that requires 3 bodies. And climbing in and out of this thing multiple times, and it wasn't the owner doing it; it was Aston Martin folks. So you get to see that kind of that kind of thing.
Nice. Ryan, any memories from last year for you?
Yeah, so many. I'm still getting over my hangover from the Zinger Area 21 party. I see that's on the list again for this year. But the Porsche party was a ton of fun. That's one I'm not going to miss this year. The quail is always great, right? Gotta love the. I want to call it the free food and drink, but those tickets ain't free. Looking forward to Pebble, of course, and gosh, Motorlux is going to be good. There's the Monterey Motorsports Festival. There's Concorso Italiano, and of course Radwood. Can't miss Radwood. That's going to be great as well. I mean, everything is awesome, right? It's just a week of just overload, and I've got clean underwear going in, so I'm feeling good.
Well, at least for half of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a fun week, and the thing for me is you never know what's going to happen. So you've got your plan, but something will happen. Like I think last year wasn't it the house at the top of the Quail you got invited to see a very nice private car collection, Ryan?
Yeah, and I think we've let the cat out of the bag. That was Chip Connor's place, and one of the world's best car collections. And I'm hoping something like that will happen again this year. I mean, it's stuff like that happens during Car Week. It's just magical. So
very, very special, very special. Auctions are a big part of Car Week, and I know I set you folks a bit of a challenge to go and investigate and come back with 2 cars that, money no object, you would buy. So, what did you go for, and where were those cars?
I'll start. My first one is one you guys maybe have not seen. It was a build called Dirty Martini. It is.
But I like the name.
It is a kind of off-green. I believe it's an Impala. I could be wrong there, but it's a custom like hot rod build. Very very retro and very resto mod. 600 horsepower. It won all the awards, etc. And good guys. Hot rod of the year, stuff like that. But it's a bit shocking because it won all the awards and the owner's parting ways with it, which, normally when you have a car like that, you kind of keep it and show it around a bit, but the owner seems to be, for whatever reason, parting with it. But that car is just stunning, and it's driven over, I think, thousands of miles. So it's a real runner. It works. That one's probably less appealing to our audience. I think the one that I would see if either one of you had on your list, there is a Volkswagen Beetle limo.
Yeah.
That's up for auction, and that thing, I'd never personally seen one, but it's it's original in period. It's black. It looks barely enough to stretch your legs out in, but I think that'd be the best thing to be driven around. I mean, you won't see another one in Car Week, and I think you'd be hard pressed anywhere at least in this country to see another one. So I think no matter what it is, I think that'd be the thing that I buy, and I'm actually going to watch that one really closely. I have no idea what something like that would go for.
And that's a 4-door Beetle, right? Is that right?
I will insert a picture. It's either a 3-door or a 4-door, but it's just got this, much like limos do. They just got this weird fat center section, but it's not even that long in comparison to what we think of as a limo or everything that most of us took to prom or whatever it may be. It's just long enough.
I wonder if that was kind of part of that era of like these airport cars, I think they called them, right? So before like the shuttle buses, the characterless shuttle buses, there was like this whole sub industry of these companies that would extend normalish cars, right? And I'm wondering if that sort of came from that whole
I'll
scene.
do some history and come back on do some reading on the history of it.
Yeah.
But the shuttle cars you talk about, they used to do like 6-door and 8-door versions of cars, which is interesting when you're trying
like Tornados and
all
exactly.
kinds of cool stuff. Yeah. It's one thing to lengthen it, you just keep 4 doors, but when you add 2 or 4 sets of doors, I mean, how many things could go wrong? And yet, they're amazing. They're so much fun.
If you're having trouble visualizing, we can put a picture up on the screen too. But the movie Catch Me If You Can, I think there was one, maybe a Studebaker or something that factored into that movie.
Old Checkers used to do that, like lengthened Checkers,
that's probably what it
taxi
was.
cabs, and their 6-door, 8-door. Yeah. Not to make it morbid, but I think the only way you can get a 6-door now is actually a funeral car. The ones they make for unfortunate events, but yeah. So those are my two. I want a resto mod, but I definitely want that limousine VW.
Yeah, nice. I like that.
Nice. And it looks like the limousine BMW is going to be at RM Sotheby's. I'm not sure, Michael. Do you know where the other car will be?
Bear with me.
It's a tactic, so we don't bid on it. You're not going to tell us where it is.
No. By the way, I would welcome the debate.
The healthy competition.
Wait. Michael's not the one we need to watch out for. It's Lindsey's Bo Torrey that we need to watch out for.
It's a 69 Beetle limousine by Troutman Barnes. That must be the people who converted it. It's without reserve. It is at Sotheby's as well. It's lot number 144, and they think the pre-estimate is 150 to 200K.
Wow. So if you hear the hammer go down and say "sold to the man in the dungarees,"
that's me. That's me.
At that price, you get like a Super Mario sound that goes off like a
it's a me.
At that price, I'll be living in it, so at least I'll have the extra space.
Oh, very
good. I love it.
Well, and Ryan, did you go non-Porsche?
One of them, yeah. So I am all of a sudden.
Only one. You couldn't break it. You couldn't break it, but you had one.
No. And we've talked about this before. I love old cars. I love the stuff that runs in the Colorado Grand. I would love like a 30s, Alfa Romeo or something like that. But if it was actually my money, what do I want in my garage right now? There are a couple cars that just, I flagged multiples across different options or different auctions rather. One is the NSX-R. All of a sudden, now we've got a couple friends, shout out Tom Horan, he's one of them, who have really been talking these up lately. I've never driven an NSX, and I've certainly never driven the Honda equivalent NSX-R. They're supposed to just be these special cars. Are they 4 or 5 times the value, or worth 4 or 5 times the value? I don't know. But there were a couple at auction. There's a white one, and I think a black one at Car Week this year. Reserve or estimated price is $375 to $425, and that's a lot for an NSX. But I don't know. I just, we had Art Cervantes on from Radwood, and he famously owned a silver one with Tay Wolf on the license plate, as he described it. He sent me a picture. I'll post on Instagram here, maybe on a little later this week. But there's just something about those cars. It's the way the windshield drops so low, the dashboard, the visibility. It's all these things that we don't necessarily have in cars in 2025. So that's something that all of a sudden just really, really appeals to me. 15, 16-inch wheels or whatever and all. I mean, it's just, maybe they're 17s. I don't know. They look tiny, but, the proportions are right. And I think it would just be a special driving experience. That said, right-hand drive, all of them. So that would take some getting used to. The other thing that just all of a sudden just really appeals to me, also a relatively modern car, even a more modern car, and that's the 991.2 Porsche Speedster. And these are still, going for several $100,000. And I just think these things are the cat's meow, as they say. They're just very, very appealing. You get that GT3 motor. So many of the ones you see are, Sonderwunsch cars, or, are just, special builds, right? Special colors, PTS and all that. And that's a car that just really appeals to me right now. Maybe I'm turning 50. I want a convertible. I don't know, but there are several for sale or several for auction at Car Week this year. I'll be watching them. hoping they'll slowly come down over time. But, none of those 911 Speedsters do come down. They only go up. And I think the reason I like these cars is it harkens back to one of my first Porsche experiences growing up when I saw a 964 Speedster in the flesh, and it just blew my mind. And ever since that time, I've always wanted a 911 Speedster. So those are my two. What about you, Dan?
Interesting. Well, before we get to mine, a couple of thoughts. Have you guys seen the spy shots? So at the moment, there are some spy shots going around of a 992 GT3 Cabriolet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is the front wheel arch is off of an ST.
Mm-hmm. I think it's the new Speedster. I think 100%. Yeah. This idea of a GT3 Cabrio, that's just never going to happen. I don't think. I think it's going to be the new Speedster. What do you think, Michael?
There's a lot of speculation. Yeah. Some people think it's an ST cab, and purists say no, they don't want to step on what the ST is because it's so revered right now. I do think it's an RS cab personally. I think they're looking at Porsche's had to raise prices, right? They just came out with their quarterly earnings, and the tariffs and all the things have impacted them. I don't want to call it a money grab, but I think top goes up, top goes down, price goes up. So that wouldn't shock me. That wouldn't shock me, because I think when you look at a lot of those cars like the Speedsters or that don't have as much usability, whereas if you could somehow engineer a roof on it, on an RS, it probably people will want them and they'll drive them hopefully.
Yeah. Would they ever put a manual in that?
No, not now.
Yeah, okay.
I'm speaking out of turn. I don't know for a fact. Yeah. I don't believe so. Just because then everybody's going to say, why don't you do it for the rest of them?
Yeah. And that makes sense. There's the Spider RS. Why would there be a Speedster RS or some sort of,
I think it depends which route they go, right? If they go make it an RS cab, then it definitely won't be a manual. Mm-hmm. If they go for an ST cab, then it could be.
There you go. Yeah.
So we will see.
Really, it's just names, right? It's all going to be kind of the same car, no matter what they call it. Right?
Same running gear underneath, right? I went for a couple of random picks. The first one is probably not a great car, but it did have a great owner. So Bonhams have a 1980 Mercedes-Benz 450 SL, and this car was delivered new to one Tom Petty.
Oh.
And he was the reason I picked up a guitar. If he ever heard me play, he'd probably be the reason I put down a guitar. But Rockstar ownership has got to add something to a value, right?
Well, until you see an Adam Duritz car come up for auction, I guess that's your car, huh?
I know of one. There's a vineyard in Northern California where there is a Carmen Gear that still belongs to him. So for those not aware, Adam Duritz is the lead singer of Counting Crows. He bought this car with his first paycheck, and he's not driven it for like 20 years, and it's sat at a vineyard in California. So maybe I'll go and investigate if they'll sell that car. But
that's a car worth buying for the story. You're not going to have another story like that.
Yeah.
Let's call them. Anyway,
license plate Mr. Jones. Yeah.
Yeah. All the vibes. Tom Petty bought this car in 1980. But the valuation on this car is between 25 and 35,000. Does that seem? So I'm assuming the car is a piece of shit.
No, so I've owned a couple 107s, R107s, right? Yeah. And they're amazing cars. One of the cars I owned was a 380 SL that had, this is 84, dual climate control, and that sounds really novel until you realize you got to buy two of everything at Mercedes prices. Because I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I'd never seen dual climate control, since the late early 90s when it came into my world. But anyway, you got to buy two of everything. But they're really good cars. They drive really well. By and large, they're fairly easy to maintain. But they made a ton of them from 72, 73 through basically 89, 88. So it doesn't surprise me. And then to your point, Dan, Phil, whatever your name, I can hear it feel it in the night. But
Dan has entered his name as Phil Collins on the on the chat
audio
here.
Folks.
So
he's Phil Collins
every week. It's a different musician.
But I think it's a question of are you a Tom Petty fan, and do you want to pay for some of his old boogers and Exon hairs?
Might find a pill or two.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I think it's a great car, though. By the way, I highly recommend anybody who wants and has kind of spare cash, and they're really fun cars. They really are.
Yeah,
they're worth all the money.
Yeah. I think a petty, association is worth $5,000, right? Just something to talk about at parties. What do you think? I mean, would you, or do you think it's going to go way higher than that just because of the association?
Well, it looks like it's sold without reserve. So
okay, well,
you'll sell
maybe,
it. Yeah.
bring your checkbook.
maybe I'll put a cheeky bid in. And add to the slightly building car collection, which we'll talk about later.
Can't wait.
The second car is a car that I can't believe they've already increased in value a lot. And that's 1991, but obviously it's not a 91. It's a reimagined Singer DLS. And I think they were like just over 2 million new. Is that right? Around that sort of 2.4.
I don't know for
A
sure.
lot. I'm going to put down a lot.
A lot. Well, the estimate is over 3 million. It's between 2.9 and 3.2.
Okay.
So
there's no waiting list.
yeah, you don't have to wait. You jump to the start of the queue. 1 of 75, lightweight study. It's got a 4-litre. And that one is going to be through Broad Arrow. So that'll obviously be at the Jet Centre. So yeah,
I'm a fan. I think, if I had the money, I'd buy a Singer.
Just the pinnacle, isn't it?
Yeah,
They're beautiful.
They're pretty great.
Real quickly, I want to throw this out to our audience, and then maybe they can track it down, or I can. Ryan, on your NSX Type R, which are stunning. I know I saw a video. I will have to dig it up. Someone, I forget, famous YouTuber is taking a ride in one in Japan, and he couldn't. The owners told him not to roll down the windows because the window regulators are something like $7,000 or $8,000.
Oh, no kidding.
So that if the window regulate, they were driving around Tokyo or one of the prefectures in it was kind of a warmer day, and they couldn't. The guy does a voiceover. It might have been Larry Chen. I'll find it.
Okay.
But we can have people comment and talk about it. But I'm 99% sure he said it was like a 4-digit window regulator, if you could even find one. So he couldn't roll down the windows, and neither did the owner as he's being escorted around in an NSXR. So that's been the one thing with that car that I was like, if you can't even roll down you can't even go to McDonald's in it.
Are they lightweight equivalents of what's in the standard NSX or something? Art Cervantes, if you're listening, let us know.
Yeah, it's unobtainium. I don't know, but they made the comment that they couldn't, was instructed not to roll down the window because if it happened to break, granted it's a Honda, it probably would last quite a while. Yeah. But if it did break, it was a 4-digit fix.
Huh. Wow. I wonder how
I'll research
geeky,
that.
Yeah, I wonder how geeky our audience is. So the NSX is very famous for being developed by one Ayrton Senna. But there was a second racing driver who is equally a very famous racing driver who developed that car. He is always in the shadows of Senna, but I wonder if anyone can tell us in the comments. Maybe we'll send them some stickers or something.
Absolutely.
Because not many people know that second name.
AI can tell us, but even if you use AI, we'll
have an
know
idea.
Inside.
Do you guys know?
You just got to comment.
I have stickers.
Yeah,
I think
do you
so.
guys know the answer?
I think so.
You think you know?
Yeah.
Do you know, Michael?
I do not. I just have seen a lot of the videos with Ayrton running around.
Yeah. Car Week, Ford, and in particular Jim Farley, has said we're launching something at Car Week which will be almost like the second coming of the Model T, as in that important to the brand, that important to the future of the company. Any ideas on what it is?
Let's break it down. It's got to be a world car, right? It's got to be an everyman car.
It's got to be for everyone. It's got to be available around the world.
Yeah.
Has it got to be electric?
Well, I was about to say, because my guess, if I could guess anything, it's electric only because development cycles are so much longer now. So if they're at a place where they're ready to talk about it, they've been developing it 36, 48, 60 months ago. And so back then, everything looked quite a bit differently from a number of different angles. So it probably is, but maybe they're smart and they did what Dodge did with the new Charger, and they make it so that it can be either ICE or EV and swappable. But yeah, my money's on something electric and something I don't know. Affordable is relative, but something affordable.
Yeah, there's a rendering going around, right? Didn't you send it to me, Dan?
Could have done. Was that on the group text?
Yeah, and the front end of it looks like a rabbit from like 1978 or something. It's a very throwback look, which I didn't hate.
You're talking a VW rabbit, right?
Yeah. Or an old. Yeah, what was the
It's Bugs Bunny.
It's Bugs Bunny.
Those teeth. Or didn't Ford make a small pickup truck in the 70s, or maybe it was a rebranded Japanese thing or
Oh
something.
yeah, they.
But
I mean, the B2000 and the
yes,
was a
yes,
Mazda
yes,
pickup that I forget what the name of the Ford variant was, and so yeah, I mean
yes,
they've had
yes.
access to a small pickup truck for a
It
long,
looked
long
like that.
time.
It looked like that. I didn't hate it. So,
Yeah. So one rumor I heard was that it's going to be a Slate competitor. I mean, you could argue they already have a Slate competitor, right? But with a gas engine, a
sure.
nice engine. So it could be that Slate's days are numbered before they've even shipped a car.
Well, poor Jeff Bezos. Let me tell
Yeah.
you.
He needs the money, doesn't he? I heard other rumors, and I don't think this is the Model T, but I heard rumors of a four-door Mustang. Is there a market for a four-door Mustang?
I don't think so. I don't
No.
because here's the thing. You look at Cadillac, right? Cadillac has two of the best sedans out there in a CT5 Blackwing CT4, and those are the only ones that sell. Cadillac actually had an uptick in sales, but it's largely from the SUVs, and even by the way, their
Yeah.
EV sales are good for the Cadillac brand, but their sedan sales are mediocre. There's just not a lot of everybody's moving away from sedans. It's either big trucks or crossovers. And so I don't know who's investing in. I mean, even look at Slate. Slate could have come up with any type of car, and they
Yeah.
chose a small pickup. So
Yeah.
I think I'm a sedan fan, but
Yeah.
I think those days are numbered.
Yeah.
So I'm going to disagree because
Please.
I just had this Genesis G90 for a week. There's an article coming out in Autoblog any day about it. And so I looked at the numbers for Genesis because I know Genesis numbers are up across the board. And I thought, oh, for sure, sedan sales would be going down. It's all SUVs. And I was surprised to find out that that wasn't the case. And, I don't know. I think everything's cyclical. I think people are getting maybe burned out on big SUVs and crossovers. That maybe I'm wrong. But I also think that, they've already sold the soul of the Mustang name, right? With like the Mach-E Mustang. So Mustang everything, right? Have a Mustang sport truck, have a Mustang whatever. I just feel like, that's no longer a sacred cow, right? Chop that thing up, spread,
I think, but Dan's early comment about it being a Model T, right? Model T, at least from my history as I remember it, not that I passed history with a flying grade, it was affordable to everybody.
Yeah,
Like it
yeah,
was purely accessible.
yeah.
And that's, I
But,
guess, maybe what I'm focused on is like it's got to be accessible, and that just comes down to money.
or are we talking about two different things, Dan? Is there the Model T car and there's also a four-door Mustang?
It could be both. It could be
Okay.
both, right?
Okay.
The only thing I can think of with the four-door Mustang is that would be then a direct competitor to. I always get the Challenger and the Charger mixed up, but whichever one is the four-door.
Well, they're both now, I think, the Charger, right? The two and the four-door, or I think are both called the Charger.
Yeah, in the EV, in the new EV.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So maybe, but we will see in a week's time.
yeah.
I think you alluded to this, Ryan, in terms of they've been a little bit short when it came to naming conventions. So instead of going for a new SUV, they called the electric SUV a Mustang.
Yeah, they need help, don't they?
Mustang Mach-E. and I think they finally recognized they need help. And is that right? You saw a job advert for?
Well, it was on Jalopnik, but I'm totally going to apply to this job. They're looking for someone that's called a nomenclature strategist. In Ford, let me tell you, I am your man. I can come up with some great names, I swear. So yeah, they're looking for someone to name their cars. It's a well-paying job. I guess to your point, they need names that aren't Mustang. I've got the job listing here. Do you want to know some of the other
Please give us some details.
credentials? Get paid six figures to name stuff at Ford, says Jalopnik. Ford is hiring a world. I'm sorry. Okay, speaking of words, they messed this up. Ford is hiring a word expert. They said a world expert, someone with a rare and powerful gift who can do things some don't even dare to dream of, name stuff. And I think this would be a dream job.
Well, but you bring up a good point. I don't know if that was an error because, again, the word "world" has a real world application, as we very well know. We'll do a quick go back in history lesson.
I looked up, and there's a few where companies have got it so wrong. So the first one was a Mazda, and they decided to name a car called the Mazda La Punta. Now, I don't speak Spanish, but from what I understand, that is an illicit, maybe lady of the night or someone who puts it about a lot. So the Mazda La Punta. Dodge did one better. So Dodge created a car called the Dodge Kahunas. Can you imagine that? Yeah, I've got a Dodge Big Kahunas. Cars and coffee. So that was one. And then the final one, which I thought was quite funny, was Isuzu, which I don't know if they still exist anymore, do they? And,
As a truck
maybe,
company, yeah, they
maybe
still
trucks.
make medium heavy duty trucks.
Yeah. So this I think was supposed to be named after a sumo wrestler.
That tracks.
The Isuzu Giga Light Dump.
It's better than a heavy dump.
Yeah.
So guys, I just
and so it's
used
6 figures to do that, right? You need someone to use AI to make
but
sure that it's not offensive in another country.
But I just went to ChatGPT and I said, create some new Ford car model names for us. They gave me 10. There's a Ford Grizzly. Okay, not bad.
Yeah.
The Ford Ridgeback. The Ford Outclimb. That not really working for me. The Talon X. The Iron Trail. The Coyote, the Vortex, the Stonehawk, the Badlands R, and the Thunderline. Okay, they do need a human.
Yeah, they do need a human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hit me up, Ford. You know where to find me.
Mr. Farley, if you're listening.
Long gone are the days where people used to watch copyright, right, and trademarking, because Ford badged the Cyclone the way it's supposed to be spelled with a C, and that's why the GMC Cyclone spelled with an S.
So much better with an S, too.
Yeah, there's
Porsche.
We know the big Porsche 901, 911. You know that's obviously lore or legend. There's a lot of those that when people start going down the rabbit hole of why something's named X rather than Y or how it started out. Corvette's a fish. Or no, I'm sorry, Camaro. One of them was made up. One of them was, I think, Camaro was made up or Corvette was made up. I'm maybe mixing those two up, but like a lot of them just came out of thin air because the thing they wanted to was taken up by somebody else.
Yeah. I think Corvette is a small boat.
Yes. It's an escort boat in the Navy. That's what it was named after, which I think was a British boat.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't American. That was the weird thing because the Stingray was the Anyway, so they've gone. So they do need a body, and not AI to make sure they don't get in hot water or they end up with somebody else's copyright.
Yeah.
So Ryan, apply for it, and then we'll start a campaign to support your application.
I need all the help I can get.
We'll
got bills
get
to pay.
T-shirts done at Car Week. Hire Ryan, and if you see us in these T-shirts with "Hire Ryan," point us out to the people at Ford.
Right.
So that's what else at Car Week? What else? I know the Porsche party's back on this year, and we'll be going to that. We're looking forward to seeing who we bump into then.
Yes. I mean, everyone knows who we got to hang out with last year. Well, Michael didn't, but
No.
Mr. Andy Pruninger himself, which was a real thrill.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
We kind of press ganged him, didn't we? To be fair, he was minding his own business, and we all just bounded over.
We kind of kettled him in with large numbers.
Yeah.
Demanded a picture. Yeah.
We had Dicey, we had Colin, all of us. He wasn't going anywhere.
We had lots of advice.
Yes.
It's a gift, too, if I recall.
Yeah. I think I said to him, why don't you do a convertible GT3 now?
That's
so
right.
if it is right.
ST front end.
It was my idea at Car Week last year.
Just tell them where to send the royalty checks.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Or just send over a car.
That car show. Yeah, I'll take one at...
Dan, to answer your question, I think just being there's just an energy in the air. You run into people you haven't seen for years. You see, people you don't know but wish you did. I mean, it's just, but yet it's very accessible to your point. I mean, you can go up, there's the Roof family, right? All of them, right? And you can go up and say hi and maybe grab last year it was a cowboy hat, right? With the rodeo.
The rodeo,
rodeo. So I wonder what they're going to have this year. So the first thing we do when we get to the Quail this year is rush the Roof booth to see what kind of great gift they've got to give us. Yeah.
And if they've got underpants, Ryan is your man.
I want some Roof undies. I swear to God I do. I would rock those things on the outside.
I'm wearing Roof pants right now. I heard from Roof that I've heard two stories. One, that they are going to launch a new car.
Nice.
But the story I heard is they're going to be doing the delivery of their first rodeo to a customer. And that'll be a North American customer. So that'll be at the Quail.
What color do you think it'll be? Because the OG originally is this great orange.
Yeah. It's green and orange, isn't it? Was it?
No,
was it orange?
It was orange. And then they had a green, I think, SCR next to it, right? If I recall. Which also gorgeous.
That SCR was chips.
Yeah, that was.
Was it?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
didn't tell
we
that
were at
part of the
the,
story.
the button on the story is when we got invited to that, wonderful moment.
Mm,
That SCR was sitting in the parkway, in the park court of this beautiful home, and we
yeah.
all looked at him. We like, where wasn't that somewhere else like 12 hours ago? And he's like, yeah, he had just taken delivery of it. So yeah, it was kind of an
Uh,
interesting kind of kismet moment. But anyway, I digress.
well,
Yeah, no,
well, if we hang out with these people, we will become these people, right?
Love it.
No, I just want to be their friends. I just want to. I'll just be a hanger on.
Yeah, the best cars are other people's cars if they're great cars, aren't they, to drive? And
Absolutely.
incidentally, I will have Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio to drive up. So Alfa Romeo have lent me one, so I will let you folks know what that car is like, because it has a high reputation, doesn't it?
They're they're great cars and they're timeless and they've been out now for a while. And they still catch my eye when I see one. They're just special cars. They really are.
Yeah. So over 500 horsepower. I think they are a Ferrari engine with 2 cylinders chopped off.
Yes.
I think it's based on the California. So I'm looking forward to my drive up to Car Week for sure.
Take the long route.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I.
And speaking of driving, Michael, you've just been through a driving course, is that right?
Yeah, I finally went over to the Porsche Experience in Carson, which if you're in Southern California, it's either worth the trip or if you're local, definitely go down for a number of reasons. First of which, obviously the smorgasbord of what you can do there is amazing. They have a fun little whippy little track that is kind of the border of it. They have kind of a pseudo drag strip that they let you do hard launches on. They have 3 different skid pad type. One is a track that you can kind of get sideways on, a la drift. There's an actual wet circle course, and then they have what they call, I forget what the formal name of it, but it's a wet pad that has a major bump in the front, so it kicks the car sideways the moment you roll over at about 30 miles an hour. And so it's all about car control, right? It's about remembering where your hands and your feet are. Less so because they're all PDKs, but it's just and you can run Macans, you can run Taycans. I chose a GT4 RS and a GT3 RS. The notable thing about the GT3 RS was it was the only 992.2 that they had in the fleet. I was pure luck more than anything.
Nice.
And it's a hell of a car. We were debating this between the group about the difference between the two. And for me, I like a heavier car. The GT3 is just more of my style of car. Whereas the gentleman that I had as my instructor for 90 minutes, he mentioned to me that the GT4 RS is something that even he is cognizant of. And if he wants to try different things, he uses that car because it's very abrupt at the limits. Whereas the GT3 RS, especially the smaller course that's there, you don't really ever get to the limits, even for someone as average as myself in driving skills. So I don't want to say it's safer, but it's more approachable. It's less threatening. But they're both wonderful cars. My favorite part of the story is because it was a brand new car, literally with less than 400 miles on it. Every time you started the car, it had a warning in the screen that says it did a countdown. And I don't know what the number is, but it said 700 and some odd miles through break-in period. Yet this gentleman had me doing launch control, which is basically put it in drive, put your foot on the brake, mash the gas. We held it for like 5 seconds, and it's bouncing off the red limiter around 8,000 RPM. And then there's a couple of long straightaways on that track where you can take it to red line before the transmission shifts, whether in sport or track mode. And they did not care about break-in period. So maybe break-in period's a myth, but I don't know if I want to be the owner of this car after. It's had its life there, however long it lives. But it's a hell of a car. It's my personal favorite of the group. But I recommend anybody who's in SoCal, if you have the time. And the best part about it is I did a morning session, which I highly recommend because the restaurant opens at 11 a.m. and the restaurant's only open for lunch. And it is a fabulous restaurant overlooking the track. Very good food, wonderful service. The people are very, nice and accommodating. So it's just a great way to spend half a day in Southern California.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. That sounds awesome. That's something I've always talked about, never have done. Love to
just do it. Money and time notwithstanding, do it. It's a great way to spend an afternoon. It really is.
I have friends who aren't even car people who have done that and just have gone on and on about it. Apparently, they just really put on
a lot of fun. The people are great. The accommodations are nice. Everybody's understanding. People know you're not there to set lap times or do anything crazy. And so it's just fun. It's just fun around like-minded people, and it's like a warm, inviting atmosphere. And so, you're not intimidated. I think when sometimes people do driving courses or go to events like that, they feel intimidated or feel like they have to show off or feel like they have to keep up with the Joneses or the person next to them or whatever. It's you. It's an instructor. And they'll take it as far as you want or what they feel you're capable of. Or if you just want to have a fun time, like I did, just go have a fun time. And I think there's nothing better.
Yeah, and the easiest way to get into those cars, knowing that those cars get high premiums now.
Yes.
And get stuck away. I mean, even the gentleman that was with me, he lamented that most of the cars of that ilk get stuck away in a garage somewhere and have minimal miles, where we didn't go so far as to talk about how many miles they accumulate before they do whatever they do with them afterwards. But all those cars are driven. Admittedly, they just do maintenance. They have a service center there that at least I did not see a lot of those cars broken or damaged. And so, it's a wonderful thing. It really is. So I highly recommend it. Not that they're sponsoring us; they should. Porsche America, they could throw some love our way. But yeah, no, definitely a great way to spend a few hours.
Yeah, right on.
Nice. I bought a Porsche.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know where those cars go. No, I'm kidding.
I went from renting one, and Dan's going to come in and be like, well, screw you. I just went and bought one. So, again, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. So that's why I know Dan.
Up to the levels of GT products. But I'd been test driving a few cars for a while, hadn't I? I'd done the M4. I'd test drove a PDK Boxster 4-litre. And it was a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week ago, I was searching online as you do, and I found a 4-litre 718 Boxster. And it was a bit of a weird commercial advert. It was up for sale at an authorized dealer. The car was a 2024 year model, and it had been on the forecourt for like 6 months and hadn't sold. So I want to give massive credit to John and Justin at Porsche Colorado Springs.
Hey.
Not all Porsche dealerships are equal, and those guys are definitely at the top of the pile when it comes to service, knowledge, and even if you don't buy a car through them, they're car people, so willing to help you.
They got a great podcast too, First Dibs.
They have got a very good podcast. So I must have made 10 phone calls to John and Justin over the last 2 weeks, and every time I had the same level of energy and enthusiasm from them. So very grateful. So I've ended up with a Guards Red 2024 4-litre GTS. It is manual. It is 6 years of warranty on it, so hopefully it'll be pretty good for a little while. Why was it so cheap? Well, the only reason I can find right now is that the hood doesn't match the car in terms of traditionally those red cars have black hoods.
Well, I should interrupt and say, not the hood as to us Americans, but the roof, the cover, the roof. Soft top.
Yeah.
Because otherwise people can develop a really different visual here.
So it's got a blue roof with a red. So I'm calling it the Superman spec. I need to get to my 1,000 miles. I'm not going to treat it like a Porsche experience car. But it's arrived. It's been detailed by some good friends, and I'm looking forward to lots of fun driving in it.
It's gorgeous. Congrats, Dan. It is.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's this beautiful Guards Red car. But it's got a navy blue, like a dark blue top, and I just think it sets it apart. It's and don't discount it. That's the 4-liter 6 that is in GT cars, basically. So I think you've got the right car in the right place at the right time, and I think you're going to love it and you're going to keep it forever. I think it'll be finally the car that you really gel with, right, and just will never want to get rid of. But congrats. Now, Michael, now 3 of the 4 of us on that car show team own versions of the 6-cylinder Cayman or Boxster. And yet you're in front of was it a 92 Silverado?
Yeah, the piece of shit Chevy. Yeah, yes. Your oil changes cost more than this car than this truck is. So, and Dan, I'd argue you should drive it like a Porsche experience car because you got 6 years for them to figure that out.
Right?
That's very true.
And then once it's fully fixed, not that you do anything to it or anything would go wrong, but then you could worry about, the next 6 years.
Yeah.
I've already had messages from Mr. McGuinness, Dan McGuinness, a good friend of the show, who said these are the things you need to do to the car, exhaust, etc. So,
what do you say? I'm curious because I haven't touched a damn thing on mine, and I still enjoy it. What are the Dan McGuinness prescribed mods that one must do upon taking delivery of their new Porsche?
Well, the first one was associated with being able to turn off the start-stop button. But I'm not sure because on mine, you just stick it in sport mode and that solves that problem.
Okay.
But do you not have a sport mode on the GT4? Or
no, there are no modes for anything, which I like. And so the first thing I do when I get in the car is I turn on the loud exhaust. I turn off the auto stop start, and depending on where I am, sometimes I do the rev matching. But
interesting.
It's a little different, yeah.
Yeah, so I have modes. So when you go to sport mode, it doesn't do the stop-start thing. So that's why I didn't know that's why he sent that to me.
You got that swanky little dial, right? Like
yes.
You just kind of give it a little tickle. Yeah.
Give it a tickle and it makes a lot more noise. Yeah. There's another title for the show.
That's a family show.
Oh man, this one's going to be tough.
Be a family show, yeah.
So far we're talking about
that's not the
underwear.
That's the tag. We need Dan's voice saying that line.
I think we could apply that to the Dodge Kahunas as well. Right? And the second mod, getting this back into adulthood, the second mod is an exhaust. I don't think it needs it, but I'm curious to understand because it gives you 25 more horsepower. This exhaust.
So they say.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question for you guys because you live in this world more than I do. But knowing what I know about kind of different makes, it's which exhaust, and so at least in my experience, are there prominent ones that it's not about naming names and poo-pooing other people's product versus someone else's, but that I have to imagine that's a quandary, right? Because they're not cheap. You don't really get to test them before you it's not try before you buy. So how does one go about finding the right one, or is it a factory one? Like, is there a factory sport exhaust for it, et cetera? Like, step me through that thought process because did he tell you which one to buy?
Yeah, I've got a full link to the.
Is he getting an affiliate? Is he getting an affiliate payment? You complete that link.
No, he is.
There we go. I had to get a Netflix subscription before he would share it with me. I don't know why.
Yeah. So they're scraping your data and taking your money.
Flat six
axle exhaust.
So these are just the over axle pipes. So you're basically deleting what they call the OPF or the filters.
Go. Yeah, I think you're right.
And so if you do that, I have opted not to do that on my car, but I've also driven Dan's cars over the years, which he's had this done. I will say it's a fuller, throatier sound. But I think with my ears, you lose a little bit of the metallic rasp that is there. So you know what? I don't think you can lose. And hell, if it gets 25 extra horsepower to you, and I know you also save, I think, 25 or 35 pounds too, because you basically remove these over axle particulate filters that aren't even really utilized in U.S. cars. They're for the European market. So you're basically just carrying around these shells of these things that you don't need to be there anyway. So go for it.
Not to burst a bubble, but welcome to the hell of California, though, because if it's a true catback or kind of basically a muffler because of the way that's oriented, then that's okay. But if you're removing anything else, if it doesn't have a carb number, California Air Resources Board, you can't get it. You can't use it. They'll fail you when you go in for your biannual smog. So that's where, like this truck behind me, I think I talked about in the last show, like I had to literally change the entire motor to keep this thing on the road. Now, the Leno law, I know we've talked about it in other podcasts, maybe something changes there, but that's not legal here yet. But that's what's tricky about California is everything is so, even tunes now, right? Tunes now in California, if they plug it into their computer and you have any tune, not even a carb level tune, if you have any tune, they're going to fail you. And we can argue about, not to get political, but we can argue the merits of that. But that's real tricky. That's what's so disappointing is you can't even do something moderately,
Why don't you both sign your cars over to me, and we'll get Colorado plates for them.
Nice.
Right. And now that we've announced it publicly, we'll just, it's not illegal or anything. Like all the Montana crackdowns going on right now in California.
I'm just trying to get a free car or two. That's all.
But I hope it is. I hope it is. And congratulations on the purchase. And excited. I'm excited to see it. I have to imagine that was someone's special order. Like you're buying someone's car, someone that made that point, and I think that's wonderful.
The story I heard was from the dealer, we'll see, was that the car was originally ordered in chalk with a blue roof. And at the last minute, the guy buying the car pulled out of the deal. So the Porsche dealership was like, well, we've got this car order here. Why don't we just change it to Guards Red, save a little bit of money? But they forgot to change the roof color at the same time.
I may have a one of one.
Could be.
Never pull out. That's the lesson.
Wait a minute. There's the title of the show. Wow. Lindsey's going to come back to a canceled show and be like, what the hell did you guys do?
That's the beautiful thing. We have no bosses. No one can cancel us. Right? This is a safe space for folks like us.
There we go.
But Dan, congrats. That car is awesome.
I can't wait to see it.
You've got full leather. You've got contrasting stitching. It's a beautiful, beautiful car. And like I said, I think you're going to be very, very happy you bought it.
Yeah, thank you. No, I love all the extras. I saved about $25,000 over list on the car.
Shocking. And the car no one does that on a Porsche like that.
Porsche.
Yeah.
So
not in this day and age.
No.
What's that?
Not in this day and age. But I love the 6 years CPO.
Yeah.
Win all around. Congrats. Well bought.
Absolutely.
Well bought.
Absolutely.
I'll see it on Bring a Trailer next week for a $50,000 over sticker.
That's right.
Celebrity owned.
Celebrity owned. One of one.
Tom Petty bought it 3 weeks ago.
From the grave.
I mean, he's still DJing that show on Sirius, so who knows? Him and Tupac,
Oh.
Bravo.
Is that a show, guys?
We're at 50 minutes. I mean, we can call that a show. It makes editing easier for me. Yeah.
I don't know what time we started, so that was...
51 minutes in. Let's see.
Do we want to talk about watches quickly?
We should talk about watches.
Oh, wow. Now we got another 2 hours to go.
There we go, yeah.
Where do you want to start? Ryan, kick us off with our new addition to the show.
If you've listened the last couple of weeks, you've heard our ad for Sheffield watches. We love Sheffield watches, and Jay Turkbus is a good friend of ours. And
wonderful.
So glad that Jay and Sheffield have joined us again. We've talked about this before, but go to any Cars and Coffee and you're going to see Sheffield watches on multiple wrists. But it got us thinking, as part of our relationship with Sheffield, we occasionally get pitched a Sheffield watch, and so we recently were asked to each pick one out, and I think we each picked out a different one, or maybe two of us picked out the same.
It's 2 and 1 right now.
Okay, all right.
Ryan,
what would you all pick out?
Right? Well, last time I think Lindsey copied me.
Yeah.
Now, I'm only saying copied because I think I got the order in first, but I could be wrong.
Which one was that? Was that that's one with the stripes, right?
It was the blue.
The blue. Okay.
Spike's car radio.
Yeah. Okay.
But according to Spike, the one to have from that collection, they did 3 in different colors, is the green one.
Okay.
So if you see one on eBay, or you snap it up because you can't get them anymore. But I'm curious, Michael, because we all sent you our orders, but we didn't get to see what your order was. So what did you go for?
Well, a little TMI, but there was only 3 in the allotment, so. It is all of you wonderful people that get them.
No,
so,
whoa.
Yes,
you're the negotiator. You're the business manager.
We are. Yeah. Well, but
feel yourself here?
No. This is great. You guys are on camera all the time, and you guys should be sporting them, and they'll be showing up shortly, and it's going to be a wonderful thing. But 2 of you chose one model, and one of you chose a different model. So there is
we need to
variety.
Rectify that in the near future.
No.
I know that we're going to have watches available to win.
Yeah.
So I think we'll just rig the first competition so Michael wins it.
Yeah.
Not at all. No, we do need to talk about that. To our dear listeners and our fans and the people that are subscribing and again commenting, please comment. Let us know what we should talk more about, less about, and things we could do more for you. There's going to be some giveaways coming up. We don't have all the details just yet. They are going to be wonderful Sheffield watches that you get to choose from. So bear with us. Keep listening. Keep tuning in. And we will get the details to you on our socials and also over the air so you can participate and put a wonderful, wonderful, just a good product at a great price point on your wrist very soon. But for free.
Yeah. No, it's Spike Ferrison shared a video a couple of days ago, and it was Car Week 2 years ago. And it was Jerry Seinfeld talking about a Sheffield watch. His first watch as a kid was a Sheffield watch, and he now has one of the more modern ones.
Yep.
So we're obviously in good company. But going back to it, I think Lindsey went for a pink-faced dial, which I think is a GMT. I could be wrong.
Yep.
Ryan, you went for the same as me, but what did you go for and why?
It's the Rally. It's just a watch that, so it looks a lot like the TAC on an old 356, right? I'm actually going to give mine to a friend, so I'm going to gift mine only because it's a friend that's been very good to me, and we just want to do that for him. But it's the one I'd also pick for myself right now. It's just a classic looking watch. I mean, it definitely has the motorsport vibe going on too. So that's the one you picked as well.
Yeah. Very, very different. So I just liked it because it was completely different to anything else like I'd seen, and I like individuality. Even though Ryan's friend will be rocking the same watch.
Well, it's someone we all know. So,
but there's a good selection of different looks and vibes, even with the SCR stuff, the Spike stuff. So it's like there's something for anybody.
Yeah.
And they make wonderful gifts. So buy them and give them to your friends, as Ryan's doing.
Yes, they do.
And all three of us and Lindsey are big watch people. Yeah. Michael, any watch stories from ownership of various watches?
Oh my God, I'm going
to make yours a serious one versus when I go to Ryan, and we'll talk about Ryan's one, which is not.
I'm up to 27.
No shit.
Yeah, I'm up to 27 of almost all, a wide variety of makes and models. I think if I'm going to impart anything in this, is that the best watch for the deal out there is a Seiko 5. Because for a couple $100, much like a Sheffield, for $200-300, a Sheffield or a Seiko 5 will do anything you need it to do for as long as you need it to do it. And they've made Seiko 5s for a million years. Jay's reviving the Sheffield stuff, but there's a face for anything. Meaning, you want a different look, you want a dressy look, you want a sporty look, you want a rugged look. There's good watches at any price point, but something that you want to have and it's dependable, it's a Seiko or a Sheffield. And it's like,
did you see Seiko have just put the middle finger up to a very famous Swiss watch make, because they've done a collaboration with Pepsi.
I have not seen
this. You can now get a Seiko 5 Pepsi edition. Wow. They're doing a limited edition of them. But we know that Pepsi in the trade is a different manufacturer and different type of watch. But they've gone official on it.
Rolex doesn't fuck around, so this will be interesting.
There's me trying to be coy and not name any other brands.
If I had to pick one brand, maybe not to tick off, that might be the one.
Here we go. And Ryan, you bought a Panerai, is that right? What was the story behind this watch?
Yeah. Oh, God, you got a good memory. Back when I was a younger man, I was into Rolexes and Tudors, but you could also get a Rolex or Tudor for about a third of what you can now. And I always wanted to try a Panerai, but they were still kind of catching on. And some of you listening have heard this story, but plenty of you have not. And so one day at work, I decided that I couldn't spend the $3,500 on a real Panerai, but I could certainly sling $350 on a faux Panerai. And I dialed one up at
Panerai
from a place called Replica House, Haus, so it's Europeanish and legit. This was a while. This was 20 plus years ago. So you just kind of sent your money out. I almost said send your mother out into the ether. You sent your money out into the ether, and you never quite knew what was going to happen then. And a few weeks passed, and I thought, oh man, I've been burned. This was but the place had like 500 5-star reviews, but. Eventually, I'm in my office, and the mail person comes around. That is the person that would bring the mail. It was a woman. Go figure. And there's this big padded vanilla. What are you drinking? What's going on? I'm just getting old, guys.
Maybe you should start drinking.
Ryan, more raucous than.
I was out in the backyard and realized I'm aging into my Mr. Miyagi stage of life where I'm
painting fences.
No, I'm just I did that a couple weeks ago actually. I'm just out wandering, with a garden shears, just trimming things here and there, reminiscing, mumbling to myself about the good old days. But
just don't be Don Corleone and Godfather 2. Don't be out in the tomato patch and running around and you don't remember. Oh God,
I've never seen Godfather 2.
Oh my God! All right, never mind. Don Corleone doesn't die from getting killed. He dies from having a heart attack chasing his grandson around in the garden.
Okay, all right. Mental note. We'll watch.
Killed the whole vibe of the podcast. Moving on.
No. I'm embarrassed that I haven't seen. But anyway, if I eventually get this padded manila envelope in the mail, and it's got like 85 Chinese stamps, on it, and open this thing up, and inside there is, for you young people, there used to be something called a desk calculator, and it was a calculator that would be on your desk that literally printed out on receipt paper, right? And you could, add up your maths, whatever. And I thought, oh man, I totally got burned, and I was so disappointed because $350 was a lot of money for me it still is, right? And, I picked up this thing. I'm like, well, hey, I got a desk calculator. I open it up, and the desk calculator itself seemed a little light, and there seemed to be something inside of it. So it was a shell of a calculator, much like, when you go to IKEA and you have those shells of computers or televisions that they have on the furniture. And sure enough, this fake Panerai watch was inside the desk calculator. So I had to borrow a screwdriver, open it up, and there's this watch. And wouldn't you know it, this thing looked like, this is like a 99-point watch. This looked just like a Panerai. That's the beautiful thing about a fake Panerai. Real Panerais are pretty basic, and they just utilize a pocket watch movement, and everything is very sort of rough and there. And this thing had a display, back, and I was wearing real Rolexes at the time, so I was a little embarrassed to wear this thing, but I thought, God, this thing looks pretty authentic, right? And so I wore it to work for about a week. I got a couple compliments, and one day we were in an all-office meeting, and it was a hot day. We worked in an old 1930s Art Deco building. It was an ad agency, and we're all sweating a little bit. Hot day. This thing's on my wrist, and my boss, he said, "Ryan, you got a new watch. Why don't you pass it around so everyone can see it?" Okay. So I thought, oh man, okay. But I was really confident in this thing, right? I thought this thing would look legit, and certainly no one in this room knew more about watches than I did, right? Well, what I didn't realize is this thing had a display back, and if you look at a Panerai, I think there was like a Panerai base or something similar, the word Panerai was spelled out on the movement in sort of gold applied letters.
On the rotor, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it looked really cool and stuff. Well, it was such a hot, humid day, and this thing was on my wrist, and maybe I was stressed, whatever. I picked this thing up, and I look at the back, and all the little letters that spelled out Panerai had come loose, had come, the glue had, and it was like a snow globe. And now here's my boss, like the guy signs my checks asking to check out this watch, and it was just one of those moments where I had to think quick, and I just decided to get up and walk over to show the watch, because I just, all my credibility, everything else right out the window. Of course, if I was really on my toes, I probably could have said something like, well, if you paid me more, I wouldn't have to buy
Well,
fake
I was about to
watches,
say the same thing. I think this is a missed opportunity, because if you passed it around and someone says, why is this melting? And say, because it's not real, because I've gotten denied for my last 3 raises. You know what I mean? You could have really laid the guilt trip in front of everybody. So
and Davis, Harrison, Dion in Chicago, that's exactly the truth. But I took that watch. I threw it in the trash. It
Come on.
To do with it.
I bet that thing would have still run. I bet it's still.
You could have put it on eBay for $400.
Yeah,
well, again, kind of, this is a rare one-off, where, it was a glitch, right, in the Panerai factory, and the glue just wasn't good that day. I mean, it's worth twice, normal Panerai. But anyway, so.
I've just got this vision now of the Italian Navy wearing fake Panerai. And all the gold coming off on their suits.
You never know. You never know anymore, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I think those days of the bad fakes are done, and I think you've got to be so careful anymore, because the fakes have gotten so good.
They've gotten really. If you want a rabbit hole to go down, is the jeweler watch folks that are professionals, and they put the side by sides down of high end brands and the real things, or the fakes, and they're really good. But to that end, though, to your point, the fakes can go for 4 digits.
I know.
So buying secondhand, which I'm an advocate of and fan of, you always had to do your homework, of course, and caveat emptor and all that. But even the fakes now are. There was a Wall Street Journal article not too long ago. Not that has anything to do with anything, but they did a whole article about the subculture that are buying those 3-digit, 4-digit fakes, handbags, watches, etc. Because they're almost indistinguishable, and some people go to the web to tout the fact that they didn't pay, all the money for a Birkin or for a Daytona or whatever.
I still can't do it though. Cultural. I can't do it. I mean, would you drive a $60,000 GT3 RS that was indistinguishable from a real GT3 RS?
I don't know, man. I don't
Is
know if
that
anybody's
next?
making those. I don't know if anybody's making those. But how many
Guys,
fake,
I got an idea.
well, but how many fake Daytonas were built back in the day?
Well,
Convertibles
that's a
back in
good
the
point.
Miami Vice
Clones,
70s, cloned
right?
Daytonas,
Yeah, yeah.
cloned Testarossas, or
250.
yeah,
Yeah.
Sure. And American cars too, Super Bs and other stuff, right? I
sure.
mean,
Oh
a
wow,
ton of
those are different. Those drive like
Oh,
most of that
they
junk.
still drive
When you're
like
taking
crap.
a
Better than the
Fiero,
original.
you're taking a Fiero, a mid-engine Fiero, and putting a what, I don't know. I mean, but what is a kit car these days, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I have had the pleasure of driving in a Superformance or a some of these cars that are, are they replicas or are they not? I mean, there's a
yeah,
debate there with regards to value, but does the driving experience of a high-end Superformance car really take away from the people that own a true Cobra? I mean, there's an argument to be made there, unless it's obviously a real bad thing. So I don't know. It's an interesting, maybe it's a conversation for future podcasts of like, if the experience is 95% for 50% the money,
yeah.
who are you now? And now, in an honesty, transparency thing, are you selling it on as a replica? Or are you selling it on as
Right,
a, to
right,
your point
right,
about people that
right.
replicate Daytonas and Superbirds and all that? That's obviously deceitful. But if you're
Yeah,
getting 90% of the driving experience for 50% of the money,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Would you buy
Yeah.
fake roof underwear?
No. I think I could. I'd like to think I could at least. The only thing I can afford roof is the underwear. So I'd like to think I could afford the underwear.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, Roof, if you're listening, you got 3 customers right here.
More importantly, if you do have it, Ryan needs it by Thursday.
See you getting pulled off.
Hey man,
Pulled away.
you called me. You could have just said I bought new clothes. You brought up some 6-packs. We're gonna go to 6-pack. We didn't ask for that detail, so we're gonna
It's
bring
called
that up.
Car Week for a reason.
Well,
Boy.
not to pile on, but if you bought a fake Panerai, did you buy fake underwear?
Calvin Klein.
No,
Calvin
that's
Klein?
the only, to this day, it's the only fake thing I've ever bought, and I learned my lesson. I cheated only myself. Lesson learned. But
I
we learned a
think
lot today.
I think you sold yourself short. I'd love to see that. I bet that thing probably still works. Maybe not well, but it probably still works.
Someone somewhere pulled a fake Panerai out of a wastebasket.
Thought it was the real deal. Yeah. Well, actually,
What's your watch story? You gotta share your
Oh
thoughts.
yeah, you got it. Yeah, what do you? That's not
I
a
want to
Sheffield.
talk about Pogues. I've got a Pogue, but
What's a
actually
Pogue? Tell us what a Pogue
Hey,
is.
I'm not familiar with Pogue. Tell me about Pogue.
I mean, they put on a good show back in the day, the Pogues, but
Yeah, Fairy Tale of New York
yes,
and all that shit.
yes.
So back in the 60s and early 70s, when the moon missions were taking place and flights to space, etc., we all know that Omega signed a partnership with NASA, and the Moonwatch became the Speedmaster became the official watch of astronauts from the US, right? Well, there was a gentleman called Colonel Pogue who took his official Moonwatch to space, but also had been training with a Seiko. So an automatic Seiko, an automatic Seiko, and he had, when he took his flight to space, he had this watch in his sock. He hid it. So he had been training with this Seiko, had to wear the official watch of NASA, went up to space, and his official watch, his Omega, broke. So he had to then rely on his Seiko, and these aren't expensive watches. Bruce Lee had one of a different kind, but different face. But I was talking to a friend of mine a few years ago, and he was like, "Well, if you're going to do a watch collection, and you should have a Pogue." So that got me going. Well, what's a Pogue? And my dad said, "I've got my old watch in the cupboard," and I'm like, "What is it?" And he's like, "Oh, it's a Seiko."
No
So
kidding.
it turned out to be a Pogue.
Oh, brilliant.
And it's a $500 watch, but it was broken. So I went and sent it off and probably paid about $800. So more than the watch was worth to get it meticulously repaired. And now I've got it, and it's a sentimental timepiece, and I've got a Pogue.
Can you
And
check
an
that
even better
cupboard for
story.
911s?
Yeah, right.
What else are you hiding
Any
away?
barn finds?
No, that's
That's
amazing.
awesome.
That's a great story and an even more magnificent, setup. Like that's awesome. Congrats.
Yeah.
I'm now
Thank
gonna
you.
I'm gonna look this up. I love the story. I mean, your personal story is amazing and even adds to it. But I want to look this watch up because now I kind of want to acquire one because it kind of it fills out, a trio that I have,
Yeah,
because I have a
yeah.
Yeah.
Speedmaster.
Do you ha-
I did buy I bought a Snoopy, the new Snoopy Swatch, because they're just
Nice.
kind of fun. They just came
Yeah,
out
those are
yesterday
Yeah.
great.
with the moon face, so it hasn't
Yeah,
arrived yet. But
Nice.
I love because as a space fan, I think that's a great story. That's a
yeah,
wonderful story.
yeah,
Thank you for
yeah,
sharing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That is
cool
cool.
watches. Cool watches. Yeah, it's I definitely one you should have in your collection if you think about some sort of theme around space.
Hmm.
And I think Bullover is another one. So that was the Russian equivalent, I
Hmm.
think, when it came to
Oh,
space
really?
watches.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
yeah, there's a whole rabbit hole you can go down
Huh.
in terms of
Huh.
watches that have been to space.
Huh.
Ryan, I'm surprised. Do you have you done a Porsche design? An
No,
IW,
I
like an old
never. I
IWC?
never have. I never have. Yeah, though I do like IWC and I do like some of the old Porsche design stuff, but I'm on a fixed income. I can only do so much. So
Fair enough. Well,
At the moment.
if you find one, IWC will still service them. Don't take
they
it to your
will.
local
Okay,
place. Yeah,
cool.
because they're
Okay.
quartz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a couple that are automatics, but most of them are quartz. And
Okay.
if it doesn't work, IWC, you can actually send it in, and they will actually fix it from the factory,
Awesome.
because the
Nice.
local
Yeah.
people don't have access to the parts. So it's nice
Okay.
when, much like a Porsche or a Mercedes or whatever, when there's
Yeah. Yeah.
continuation and you can
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
enjoy the thing. Dan, I've made that mistake 1,000 times, spending more on the servicing or the refurbishment than
Yeah.
I did on
Yeah.
the watch itself. But at the end, they're all, it's wonderful. It's a wonderful thing to
Yeah.
have, and more importantly, it's a wonderful thing to use. I know I don't have anything on
Yeah.
right now, but you know, when the
Well, you're
Sheffields come
working.
in, well, but when the Sheffields come in and like,
Yeah.
just we need to wear them like the cars. Put miles on your cars,
Absolutely. No,
as we talk about
uh,
the tag in a second. But more
absolutely.
importantly, wear your watches and just
Yeah.
go out and enjoy them.
Yeah.
They're doing
Yeah.
good. Things die of boredom. People,
It's true.
items, cars, they die of boredom. So go use them.
Yep.
Go wear them. Go wear
Underwear.
them.
Yeah.
I think that is probably a show. So before we go, if there are any porch pirates listening in the Denver area, please give Ryan a break because he needs those underpants for Car Week. So that's the first thing. Lindsey, we look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We miss you.
We missed you this week. And from me, Michael, and Ryan, always be driving, and we will be back next week with some stories from Car Week.